Hey everybody, welcome back to another Rockmore Math Flipped Mastery video. Today's video is about naming triangles. There are two objectives for today. One, you will be able to name triangles by their sides, and two, you will be able to name triangles by their angles. So there are two ways to name triangles. You're going to learn how to do both of them today. Let's start with naming by side. There are three names that you can give to a triangle when naming by side. The first name is equilateral triangle. And equilateral triangles have all sides the same length. So if I use tick marks, I can indicate that these are all the same. So any side that has a single line tick mark is the same size. So this triangle has all three sides the same length. The way I like to remember that is to remember that they're equal sides, and the word equal is almost right here in equilateral. Equilateral. So I remember it using the word equal. The second kind of triangle is an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle has two sides and only two sides that are the same length. So if I were to use tick marks, I'd put that one there, and then two tick marks here indicating that this side is not the same as these two, but these are the same because they have the same tick mark. How do I remember isosceles? Well, a student last year gave me an idea about how to remember them. They said that, Mr. Rockenstein, an isosceles triangle looks like an ice cream cone. And if you turn it around, it really does. It looks like an ice cream cone. And you could even put a nice scoop of ice cream. Whoa. Yeah, that's a nice big one. A nice scoop of ice cream right on top of there. Oh, it won't let me do it. Anyway, an isosceles triangle has two sides that are the same length. The last one is a scalene triangle. And a scalene triangle has no sides that are the same. No sides that are the same. So will have three different tick marks. Or you can just look at it. You can see that this side is not the same as this one, is not the same as that one. So a scalene triangle has no sides the same length. Just to recap, equilateral triangles, all sides the same. All the same. Isosceles triangle, two of the sides are the same. Two and only two. And on scalene triangle, no sides are the same. All right, let's move on. Now, we can also name triangles by their angles. So if we're going to do that, then we have to look at the angles that they have. The first one is a right triangle. A right triangle has in it at least one 90-degree angle. That would be this one right here, indicated by the square. That tells you that that angle is 90 degrees. If a triangle has any 90-degree angles, all it has to have is one, then it's a right triangle. Let's take a look at these. These triangles are acute triangles. They only have acute angles. That means angles that are smaller than 90 degrees. These are all smaller, like a mouth closing. If you look over here, these angles here, they're all smaller than 90 degrees. These two at the bottom are getting there. They're almost a perfect corner or a chair, but they're not there yet. So these only have acute angles. An obtuse triangle has at least one obtuse angle, and an obtuse angle is bigger than 90 degrees. These other two angles are acute angles, but don't confuse this with an acute triangle. It's an obtuse triangle because it has at least one obtuse angle. There's at least one of them. Just like a right triangle, all it has to have is one, and it's a right triangle. Okay, it's time for you to do just a little bit of practicing. I want you to pause the video and name this triangle. Name it by its sides first, then name it by its angles. Okay, so you've had a chance to do that. If you name this triangle by its sides, it is an isosceles triangle because it has two sides that are the same. This side here is different. So this is an isosceles triangle if you name it by its sides. If you name it by its angles, it has to be a right triangle because it has one right angle, so it's a right triangle. Let's try another one. So pause the video and name this one by its sides and by its angles. Okay, if you name this triangle by its sides, it's a scalene triangle because it's got no sides the same length. This one is not the same as this one. It's not the same as this one. None of them are the same, and the tick marks really reinforce that. This one has 3, this one has 2, this one has 1. So the tick marks don't match. So it's a scalene triangle. If we were to name it by angle, it would be obtuse because it has one obtuse angle right here. This angle right here is obtuse. All right, that's it. Remember, if you're not understanding something, you should pause, you should rewind, you should watch again. If you have questions, you should write those down and make sure to ask them in class. I'll see you next time.